So the recording's now started. The only thing that has been missed out there is the little introduction bit that we did at the start, and just going through these bullets on why the page importer is useful. So you can see saves you time, means you don't lose old pages that you made elsewhere, and allows you to consolidate your pages into one system, being Convertri. So I can't see any questions about any of that. So we're going to move on to the demo now. So starting off, I want to have a look at what would be a bad page to import. So as I mentioned in the introduction, pages that don't import so well into the page importer are long pages, pages with a lot of third-party widgets or functionality like scripts, pages with lots and lots of videos or maybe HTML forms. All of those things are going to cause the page importer some problems because getting that third-party functionality into Convertri isn't what the page importer is for. The page importer is really for bringing over simple pages like opt-in pages, maybe a short form sales letter, which has, copy and some images and maybe a button, that kind of thing. So let's take a look at the Convertri homepage. We'll go through this and then we'll try importing it. So you can see here, it's got a title with a video. So straight away, we've got some extra functionality. And then if we scroll down, we've got some fairly basic layout and some different panels with images, which is fine, but the page is quite long in itself. And we also have a few tracking scripts on the Convertri homepage that you can't actually see on the page, but they are there in the background running to count conversions and basically make sure we're tracking where customers come from and that kind of thing. So they're all in the background. So we're going to try and import this now. To do that, we're going to go into a funnel. So you can see I've got my importing pages funnel here. And this is where you'll find the import page button. So it's next to republish and in between that and new folder. If you click on that, it will bring up a import. You then have a shared code option, which we'll go through after we've looked at the URL option. And you've got the URL option as well here. So we're going to paste in the URL. And one thing to remember is you do need to have permission to use the assets that you're importing. So you can't just go ahead and import someone else's page. That would be a breach of our terms of service. So you need to make sure that you are in either ownership of the page you're importing or have permission to import it. Once you've made sure that is correct, you can click the confirm button and then give your page a name. So I'll call this Convertri homepage and then we'll import it. And this is where the importer will now bring that page into our Convertri funnel. So longer pages will also take longer to import. So you'll see how long this one takes compared to a shorter one that we'll look at later. And remember, the third-party functionality won't be brought in. So that includes scripts, it includes any kind of third-party widgets, HTML form elements, or even form setups that you might have, and also button links. That kind of thing is not going to be brought in. So you can imagine with a longer page, not only is it going to lose functionality and take longer, you're also going to have to do a lot more editing because there's a lot more on the page that you'll need to patch up, which is why we recommend the page importer for shorter pages. Something like, as I mentioned, an opt-in page, thank you page, maybe a short form sales letter that won't actually have too much on it. So you can see it's adding the images to the library now, and now it has imported the page. So let's take a look at how it's imported it and see what has happened here. And we can compare it to the live version as well. So you can see straight away at the start, we've got our title here, and in our original page, we have a video, and this video has not been imported, and neither has the top header bar there. So one thing you can do to check if elements have been imported or not is you can turn on show element outlines. That will show you where any elements might be hiding. So for example, we've got our panel here, we've got the panel below it, and this just allows us to see where elements start and finish. So you can see this is another panel here. We've got different things going on because of the complexity of the page. So we've actually got our cookies tracker, which is like a not a third party pop-up, but a pop-up that we install on the page. That's been brought in, so we wouldn't want that. We've got our pop-up as well, which is on the page as like a pop-up that scrolls as you go down. That's been brought in, but just as part of the page. So some more complexity there, which has caused some problems. The video itself hasn't been brought in. It's been brought in as a blank image with like this kind of play button image in the middle. If we scroll down, you can see these areas here are not bad. Like we're missing some images here that have been brought in blank. But these ones here that are built fairly like neatly, these have come in nicely. So you can see how it brings in the structure of the page. This again here is a video on our homepage, which hasn't been brought in. So you can see when it comes to simple parts of the page, so this is the video here, like these sections here, these are quite simple, they're neatly laid out. They're built with elements rather than images. They're being brought in no problem. But when it comes to any sort of complexity, the page importer will struggle slightly. So not too bad. Definitely not what you'd want to publish, which is why we would avoid doing this kind of long form page. And if we scroll down here, for example, to our terms of service and have a look, we haven't got anything hyperlinked. There's no link being carried over. Oh, we do actually have the link carried over here for the terms of use because it's been built on Convertri, the Convertri page. But if it was in a third party, it would struggle to do that. And if we go to look at our scripts as well, we're probably going to find that we haven't got any scripts yet. So you can see here, no scripts have been added. I mean, this is on my Convertri account, so we can ignore that. But in terms of the page, the scripts haven't been carried across either. So we're lacking quite a bit of functionality from the original. And that's really why we would recommend not doing a long page like this. So as you can see here, it's quite long. It's got loads of different things going on, images, videos, different buttons. If we have a look at some of the buttons, if I was to delete this and see here, we've got a button here, the link and the file to download hasn't been carried over. You know, the link's been carried over, as I say, because it's a Convertri page originally, but this file that is attached to this button here hasn't been carried over. The form that we have set up on this page hasn't been carried over either. So you can see in our forms area, we have nothing connected, so we'd have to do that manually as well. So there's an example really of a bad page import, I would say. And I wanted to show you that to make you kind of aware that we would really advise against that kind of use of the page importer, because chances are that is going to be the outcome. It's going to be complex, going to be hard to fix. And if you're looking for advice on fixing that, while, as I show you, you can move elements around to fix it and do setups that, you know, will connect the page together, it's not really going to be the ideal use of it. It's not going to save you much time because you're having to basically build the page out from scratch. So we're going to now look at another page. This one is going to be kind of the next level down. So there's a bit of complexity to the page, but it's not really, it's not like the most complex page. We'll have a look at it together now. So this is the page here, and it's essentially a opt-in, two-step opt-in. So you click on this and it brings up the opt-in form as well. So we're going to import that now. And this one should be a little bit quicker than the original one that we just did because there is just less content. You can see it's already completed. So it's nice that it does it a lot quicker for those shorter pages, which again is a benefit of really using the recommended page size. So you can see here we've got our page. It's been copied over fairly neatly, but straight away you can see we've got our click to download. And if we turn on our element outlines and our element tree as well, you'll see that we are missing the panel, which is on the layer. So normally the panel would be on a layer, but there's no layer has been brought across. So any kind of extra functionality, as I mentioned, won't be copied over. So what will happen if we now preview this page? and we were to click on the button, it's not actually going to be a working button. That's not going to do anything. So we would need to fix that up as well. We've got some text here that we want to fix. So we're going to just extend that out a bit. No problem. We can use the alignment. You can see it's brought the text from the button in as an extra element. So that's something to watch out for. And then really the rest of the page is quite good. It's not doing too bad. We've got some issues here with the text, so we'd have to look at realigning that. The images for the bullets haven't been carried over, but we can fix this up. This isn't really the end of the world, so we will look at how we can do that now. So you can do either some moving about or just editing the text like so, and then you could type into this one here, for example. You could change the image of the bullet. So we could go to search Pixabay and do like bullet point. And we could use something like this as an example. And we could do the same again. So you can see from this example, again, we've lost a lot of complexity compared to the original, and that's making this a lot easier to edit. So I've edited a few images. I've changed around a few bits of text. I've edited the button. I can make sure the button mode is on the right one. So for us, that would be trigger, because we're going to now add our layer. And once we've done that, the page will look pretty similar to the original. So we're going to add a layer now. We'll add a two-step opt-in. So we'll just use one of our Convertri built ones for time reasons. So we'll hit now add. We'll click OK to add that. And then what will happen is we'll check our actions and events. So this will close. The layer will close when that button is clicked. That's pre-set up for us because it is our Convertri built layer. And then if we go down to this button here, we can now set up the trigger. So if we go element properties, add an action, event type, click, on click, and then our action will be show, fade in target, and our target will be the layer. If we now preview the page, you can see we can click that and that will bring up our two-step opt-in form. So we can easily replicate the functionality that was lost. That is no problem. And we'll just remove that powered by Convertri badge because we don't want that to be in the middle of the page. But that kind of use of the page importer is quite effective. It was a simple page. It did have some extra functionality, for example, a layer. So if you did have a pop-up on a page, it wouldn't carry over the pop-up, but you can easily add that in Convertri. So that is not a problem at all. And that is kind of a good middle of the road use of the page importer there, I would say. So does anyone have any questions before we move on to the final import example, which will be like the most simple version of a page that we have? Yeah, so a good question there, which is how about the font? So the font itself will be replicated if the font is available in Convertri. If it's like a Google font or a custom font, then we won't try and match that. We'll just probably go to the default for the page style. You can easily edit fonts in Convertri, both at element level and at page level in the page icon option here. You can go to default styles. You can change the text. So we could change it to, say, Abriel fat face. And then what we could do is make sure this was heading 1. And because this has been edited already, it won't actually change. But we can change it, from here if we want to do that. So we can easily edit that kind of thing. It isn't locked into the imported font. You can edit the fonts, no problem at all. So maybe something to consider when you're building pages, if you're using another software and you have in the past, whether or not the font will be imported and whether to change it or not before importing, or if you're happy to do it after the import has been done. Okay, any other questions at all? Okay, no worries. So we're going to import our last page now. So again, we'll go to import and I'll just grab the link, and this will be the most simple page and it will import um, the best for us. So I'll actually show you the page first, which would make sense. So we've got our very simple opt-in page here with an opt-in form, an image behind it, and a privacy policy link as well. So if we go back now to import this, you'll see this is by far the simplest page. It has the least elements. It's a very basic opt-in page, definitely does the job. It's for a keto checklist. You can see we've got that in the background, the image there, got our text. And this is probably the types of pages that you guys will be making the most of, like opt-in pages, simple style pages to get leads, that kind of thing. So if you have any like this elsewhere, they will import really nicely. So we're going to go now to that page and have a look at how the import has happened. And what we will also look at is the mobile version. Okay, so you can see straight away, we haven't really lost anything on the page at all. The only thing it's brought in is this powered by Convertry badge, which is, of course, for Convertry pages only. You can see here, it does have our text element with a hyperlink. The hyperlink hasn't been carried over, so we'd need to add that again. I'm just going to put Convertry's privacy policy for now for the example, but that's quite a simple one. We can easily edit that and add it. As for the rest of the page, we can turn on our editor element outlines to see if there's any duplications. As you can see here, again, it's brought the text in from the button. So we'll delete that. And now we just have our button. But everything else is pretty much perfect. If we go to the mobile version as well, you can see it's laid out nicely. This is an automatic conversion that's been run for the mobile version. I can actually edit this as well to make this longer. So if I want to stretch that out a bit, give it some more space, I can do that because obviously this is the mobile version. And then I can move this panel down a little bit so it's not right at the top. That is fine. So as you can see, this page here pretty much needs no edits. And we come back to our benefits of the page import and why you should use it. You know, it's saving you time. It's making sure your old pages aren't lost and all your pages are in the right place. So let's say you have a collection of opt-in pages on another service and you're moving to Convertry, you can easily import them in a matter of minutes, one by one, and you'll have all of them in there. The only thing you need to do left, which I'll show you now, is connect your form, because you can see the form hasn't been connected. So you just go to forms as you would with any other Convertry form, select your autoresponder. So I'll select my Aweber list, click next, and then just have my thank you page here for the redirect. And that is going to complete the page. So if I do that now, I'm not sure that is actually the thank you link for this funnel, but we will soon see. But what will happen when we try this out, it will be a working opt-in page and the form will submit, the data will be carried over to that service. So we'll go with our email and then submit it. As you can see, we've got a thank you page there, which is a example thank you page that I've built. So you can see there, that is a working opt-in page. And that has come from importing a page from another service, which is what we're really looking to use the page importer for. So does anyone have any questions about the page importer before we look at share codes and how they work? And importing funnels and that kind of thing before we look at that? Are there any questions at all there? Yeah, a sub account will be able to import pages as well. Okay, doesn't look like there's any questions then. So what I want to cover before we move on to the Q&A section of the webinar, which will be like open to any questions really about Convertry, is just having a look at importing share code pages. So those are Convertry pages and sharing funnels as well. Ed's asking, is this recent? It seems to be only agency. No, it's not recent, Ed. It's been here, I mean, longer than I have, which is like over 4 years. I think it was added in either originally or in the launch. If you look on the tier levels here, you can see it's available at all three tiers: convert, scale, and maximize. The page importer is available there. So if you're having trouble, please do email support@converge.com if your page importer is either not working or not available in your account for some reason. Okay, so sharing pages now and importing them using a share code. You can do this with any Convertry page. It's very simple. All you need to do is click on the three dot menu and click more, and then click share. And then you have either the import link or the share code. So import link will work by pasting it into the URL. The share code will work by clicking on it, going back to the import button, and then entering the share code. And then this will import the page using the share code. So if you want to share pages amongst friends, or you've seen someone that maybe has a template online that they're using, you'll be able to import it if you get the share code off them. That is completely fine and easy to do. So you can see this one's imported nicely. Very simple page, of course. And now we're going to look at the funnel. So we can do the same thing with a funnel. We just click more, click share. And then again, we have our two options. This time I'll show you using the URL link rather than the share code because the share code is exactly the same. We have an import funnel button here where you can paste the share code, or if we go to a new tab and then paste in the Convertry URL, you'll see here it brings us a preview of the funnel with all the pages in it, and then we can import the funnel into our account. We can either create now or do it later. So if we click do it later, it will be added to our funnel templates library. If we click create now, it'll be added straight to our funnel list. So if I click do it later, and then if we go to create new funnel, we can see here, this is now our imported funnels. So I'll be able to select one from the list here and it will be added. So it's difficult to tell which is which from this page, which is probably something we can actually improve on that, but it will be in this list here if you do use that import link like so. If you use create now, it will just add it straight away into this list here. So is there any questions about importing pages, importing funnels, using the page importer, anything along those lines that is on your mind, or anything about Convertry in general, really? We've got, some time to go through some questions if you guys have got them. Okay, so I was just waiting for some questions to come in there, and we have now got a few, so I'm going to tackle those. So Sean has asked, how do Shopify buttons work? So we don't have a really tight integration with Shopify, but we do have a Shopify element. It hasn't been kind of worked on in a while, so this is an old feature. But if you go into Convertry's page builder and then go more, you'll see here we have a Shopify buy button element. So all you need to do is add that and then click configure, and then you just need to connect your Shopify account I believe in the integrations page, and then you'll select the product from there. So it is a semi integration, I would say, but it doesn't pull in the store. It mainly is for single products, but you can pull in like that from Shopify. Ed's asking about Thrivecart integrations, what enhanced Thrivecart integrations will be expected. Honestly, I'd say it's fairly safe to say that at some point in the future, we'll have an integration with Thrivecart, where you can use the cart on convertory pages without having to, do any sort of technical, really complex technical setup. You can use it at the moment on a convertory page by just adding the Thrivecart HTML code, and that will take you to Thrivecart or link out to your Thrivecart checkout. So you can definitely experience both platforms and the power of both of them already. In terms of integrations, it's something we are working on and focusing on a lot in the background, but I haven't got any details that I can share about that at the moment. But definitely, stay tuned in the Facebook group and to the emails for more to come there. Antonio is saying thank you. You're very welcome. John's asking, can you do websites? So yeah, you can do websites. We won't have time to go through and build a website today. However, if you look at convertory.com, this is a fully functioning website. And this was built in Convertory completely. So you can see it links to different pages. You've got a bar at the top for navigating. You've got different images, text, all that kind of thing, buttons and links and everything you want from a website, videos. And this is all built in Convertory. So we do have a webinar that I ran in the past about building websites in Convertory. So I definitely recommend checking that out in the knowledge base. If you haven't already, that will give you a good idea of how to do that. So we don't have a login functionality at the moment. We do have a membership fee function and module in Convertory, which you can use to give members access. Again, there is a webinar on memberships in the knowledge base. So if you did want to check that out, you could go and have a look in the training webinar section. But memberships is a feature that we have in Convertory as of last year. Yeah, so the login at the top of the website isn't built within Convertory. It's actually a link then to our payment processor or to the app itself. So depending on whether you have a account or not, it will then show you either the login page or it will show you the app itself. So that login link there isn't built in the Convertory's editor or anything like that. No problem. You're very welcome. Okay, yeah, so I can't see any other questions there. The replay will be available usually on Tuesday next week. So other than that, thank you all for coming. I hope you enjoyed the webinar and it was helpful for you. If you do have any other questions, please reach out to support@convertory.com and we're always happy to answer them. All right, thanks a lot, guys. I'll see you all next time and take care. Bye-bye.